What's up, y'all? With the recent trade of DeMarcus Cousins, over the last 7 years since his drafting, the Kings have been the best franchise in basketball. Said no one ever. I mean, they have actually been the worst franchise in basketball, and they've been the second worst in sports. Thank you, Cleveland Browns. So, let's say, at the time of DeMarcus Cousins' drafting, I buy this team from Vivek Ranadive, and I begin to run the team as the owner and GM. Now, the 2010 draft was absolutely perfect for Sacramento and has no need to be changed. They took both DeMarcus Cousins and Hassan Whiteside, two perennial forces for years to come on this team. And the 2010 season bodes very well for the Kings. Their trade repertoire is fine, and it's nothing that I really want to fix. No major trades, but one that impacts a future major player. The trade involves the Kings giving up John Brockman, who averaged 2.1 points and 3.1 rebounds for his career, and the Bucks giving up Darnell Jackson, another 2.1 scorer and 1.5 rebounder, and a 2011 second-round pick. The rest of the season is generally uneventful and nothing changes. So in the 2011 draft, the Kings traded their picks in a three-way trade where they got Jimmer Fredette and John Salmons, but they had to give up Beno Udrih, the 7th pick, which was Bismack Biyombo, and some other assets. I don't really love this trade, so I'm not going to make it. Well, with the 7th pick, we take Klay Thompson. I mean, a massive upgrade over the Jimmer in my opinion, unless we're going to the Chinese League. The Kings also own the 35th pick and select Tyler Honeycutt, a man who averages a huge 1.2 points and 0.9 boards. They take Chandler Parsons instead, who is a solid basketball player who averages well above both of those statistics. The pick that was obtained from the Brockman-Jackson trade, the 60th pick, was Isaiah Thomas, and I mean, king of the fourth quarter, pretty solid. The Kings make off-season trade for J.J. Hickson, who they later waived, for Omri Caspi and a 2012 first-rounder. This is obviously a poor trade, and I'd like to maintain that protected pick in Caspi. So in the actual season, the Kings added multiple solid rooks in Klay, Parsons, and Caspi, and added 2 more games onto their win total. Originally, the Kings fired Paul Westphal early on in the season, but under my regime, I want to maintain front office consistency, and Westphal stays for this year. This does make the Timberwolves and Cavs lose one more game. The Kings made no other questionable decisions and began to gel as a team. Now, with hindsight being 2020, with the 8th pick, 3 spots worse than their prior selection due to the 2 more wins obtained by the Kings, we should make a trade with the Rockets. This was a rumor on draft day that they would actually trade for the 8th pick, but the Kings, this trade includes a few assets, but it's centered around a player. His name, Kyle Lowry. Now, this trade does make more sense for the Rockets than taking on Gary Forbes, who averaged 5.8 points in his career and never played another game after the trade, and the Raptors first this year, and their 2013 first. Although there was talk of this very trade happening between the two teams, the Raptors and Rockets, that is, the Kings pitch in Marcus Thornton, and a stud and 18-point scorer last season, and the Rockets chip in the 18th pick. So the exact trade is Marcus Thornton in the 8th pick for Kyle Lowry in the 18th pick. So, with the 18th pick, we take Terrence Jones. We need a power forward, and he's the best one realistically available. The Kings need to still have a second rounder as well, which they take Chris Middleton with, while originally they took Orlando Johnson, but quickly traded him to the Pacers for cash. Obviously, with the Middleton, we don't make this move. We also won't be cutting Whiteside. We'll just keep him in Reno for the time being. So, the Kings look really good with the rotation on your screen right now. I mean, Isaiah Thomas, Kyle Lowry, Tyreke Evans, Jason Thompson, and DeMarcus Cousins is a solid starting lineup with Klay Thompson, Chandler Parsons, and Terrence Jones off the bench. That is one killer. So, I'd say this team is slightly above 500. They make a trade with Houston mid-season, which we now don't have the assets to complete. So, obviously we don't do it. The Rockets lose 3 more without Parsons, the Warriors lose 3 more without Klay, and the Raptors lose 5 more without Lowry. It's on your screen. It's great. So they square off against the Spurs in round 1, but they lose by huge margins every game and get swept. In this offseason, they really didn't do much, aside from trading Tyreke Evans. I agree with moving Evans, but to New Orleans, that's a no. The Suns look to move their pick tentatively, and Tyreke is a fantastic fit for Phoenix. They have almost no wing depth, or any good starters. So the Suns get Tyreek, and the Pelicans get the 5th pick. So with the new 5th pick, we take Nerlens Noel to increase the big man presence on the squad. They now have the 18th pick, and they take Dennis Schroeder. I mean, they cut both Aaron Brooks and Beno Udrih this offseason, so we really need a point guard. And with this final second rounder, they take Joffrey Laverne. Depth in the front court is a problem on this team. We don't go out and make any big signings, just re-sign everyone we need to, and mainly Hassan Whiteside, as he'll explode soon and will show his full potential. So the Kings rotation looks really complete. If Nerlens Noel wasn't hurt, we would have a really complete bench, and if Hassan Whiteside had blossomed yet, I mean, well, this team would be a title contender, but it's not quite yet. This lineup is really, really good, as I've already mentioned, and some other teams took a lot of losses because the Raptors lost Lowry, Thompson made the Warriors lose 7 more, the Hawks lose 1 more without Schroeder, the Bucks lose 1 more without Middleton, and the Rockets lose 4 more without Parsons. The Suns pick up 4 more dubs without Evans as well. So, in the playoffs, they square up against the 3rd-seeded Clippers. The Kings' playoff experience obviously benefits, as they steal Game 1 on the road in overtime. While they do lose in 6 games, each in blowout fashion, I mean, playoff experience cannot hurt, and the Spurs still win the chip. So in the 2014 draft, we have the 23rd pick, and our team is incredibly complete at the moment. If I had to single out a position that is weak, it would be power forward. Clint Capella was picked near this selection in the original draft, and he fits the mold of a positional need. So we, as the organization, take Clint Capella. In the second round, the chance to take Jordan Clarkson at 46 is available, and we do so for obvious reasons. We resign everyone that we need to, mainly Isaiah Thomas, and this team looks like a true championship contender. Now, with the emergence of Hassan Whiteside and our regime's willingness to give him a chance, this improves our team massively. In turn, Noel goes to the bench and improves the rebounding there too. So, yeah, the rotation is on your screen. I mean, this is a title contender. I mean, other teams with the losses of players such as Clay, Hassan, Kyle Lowry, Chris Middleton, Chandler Parsons, and Nerlens Noel lose more games due to their absences. We obviously don't move Isaiah Thomas to Boston or Phoenix, and here are the standings. Due to a lot more losses, Curry loses the MVP, and Harden, who got second in the voting, gets the award. So that's exciting. I mean, the Kings have the number 1 seed, which I'd assume any Kings fan would die for right now. And they take on the Chandler Parsons-less Mavs. They dominate Game 2, and Game 1, and Game 2 is won on a Klay Thompson corner buzzer beater. The Kings complete the sweep in convincing fashion in 2-0 blowouts on Dallas' home floor. Memphis advances over Portland, and Memphis and Sacramento square off in round 2. The Kings nearly blow a Game 1 lead, and they lose Game 2. They steal Game 3 and 4 on the Grizzlies' home court in convincing fashion. They take Game 5 convincingly as well. The Rockets defeat the Spurs in 7 to square off against the Kings in the conference final. The Kings take Game 1 in a fourth quarter comeback and win Game 2 easily. The Rockets win both on their home floor in tough games both times. However, the Kings won Game 5 and take Game 6 in a 40-point fourth quarter. So, in the finals, they take on the Cavs. And in the first game in Sacramento, they win on another fourth quarter comeback. And Game 2 on a dagger free throw shooting from Lowry. Performance from Lowry and Cousins. On the road, the Kings get crushed in Game 3 and almost rally back in Game 4. The Kings do have the king of the fourth quarter and make a fantastic comeback in Games 5. Cousins shows up big with 33 points. And truly, in a final symbolic game at the Q, they get the win in another fourth quarter comeback. Cousins wins the finals MVP, and the Kings win in 6 games.